Hey guys, my name is Kendrick and welcome to ENFP Male. Today I have the chance to interview Evelyn Cash-Santos. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Is that like a combination of two last names at the end?
It is. Yeah, I have a hyphenated last name. Yeah.
Is Cash your last name or is it Santos?
Uh, it's both. So, my maiden name or my pre-married name was Cash, but when we got married, we just put the two together. So, yeah.
Oh, I see. So I guess your partner is
Was
Latino.
Santos. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, he's Latino. Yeah, exactly.
I see, gotcha. Because I was wondering, I was like, you don't look Latino, but okay.
No. Yeah, no, yeah. So my name was Cash. He was Santos. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So Evelyn, you are an ENFP, but you're not the standard ENFP. You're quite a different one.
Yes.
You're the only one too that Dave has ever typed.
That's right. Yeah.
Go into detail what your ENFP type is.
So I am double masculine, NETE, play, consume, blast, sleep. So I'm a double masculine ENFP jumper, as they say, because I jump my FI and I go straight to TE as my sort of like second savior function, if you will. Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you think and feel when you got results back?
It was interesting. So I got my results back in August, like early August. And it was during that time there was like a super long waiting period. So I've been waiting for like months and months. And I remember I was doing that thing, like all of us, like refreshing my email, like, when's it coming? When's it coming?
Right.
And I get the doc and I was like scrolling down and I could just see like, okay, EP. Okay. That's interesting. OE. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? And so like I got it and I realized, because at first, like as I was scrolling down, I was like, are they saying I'm an ESFP? Like, what is this? What is this type? And then I realized like I had NE as my top savior, which I didn't expect because I really didn't know much about NE. And I like totally thought that I was savior control. Like I thought I was savior control of some stripe. I guessed the TE, like I was like fairly sure that I was TE. I had been thinking I was NT, so I thought it was some sort of flavor of NT, but I thought I would have said NITE, like, but the NE came back and once I sort of understood like what they're doing and what they saw, I was like, oh, it makes total sense. Like all of it totally makes sense. So yeah.
So you're technically an NT still. So you're
Yes.
technically correct.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Oh yeah. No, from an OP standpoint, I was close. Like
Yeah.
from an OP standpoint, the only thing I really didn't see was the savior gather, like I saw NT, I saw observer. So I knew I was a double decider. I saw tribal of self. It's that gather that I didn't, and I think it's because I have masculine SI. Like masculine SI is a very like powerful function, and I could see my own like need for control. Yeah.
Can you talk about that then? Because you said that at first you thought you were someone that has savior control even.
Yeah.
At least tribe maybe. So
yeah.
yeah.
Go
Go
on.
ahead.
Well, I think so. And part of it is like, this was back in August. I had been in the class like since this time last year. So like March or April of last year. So I had been in the class for a long time. So I've been in the class for about a year. And so a lot of it was learning their terminology and like what they call the functions and how it works and everything like that. And also kind of knowing myself or getting to know myself. I think for me, that masculine introverted observer function is just really strong, even though it's my like fourth function, my, what is that? They call it inferior or whatever. Like, even though it's at the bottom and so it should be like this major life problem, for me, it's like, it's a kind of like an anchor. And so a lot of my life is very like structured and very controlled. And it's because I have this masculine SI. And like the way that I like to talk about it is, especially from an OPS standpoint, we all have all four human needs. Like so even you and I, we're savior gather, but we have the need for control somewhere. Right. And so for me, it just comes through super strong because it's masculine. It really kind of punches you in the face. Yeah.
I think even the way you blast, it's so punchy, like masculine SI, masculine TE, that's a really strong blast right there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. I mean, I tested as an ESTJ, and you can kind of see why, like, you got the masculine SI, masculine TE, that's going to look like an ESTJ, like, especially because I'm more extroverted, I'm going to look more like an ESTJ than like an ISTJ or something like that, but I'm not an EJ. Then I think that's like one big aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Like you could probably be framed as, like a jumper ESTJ even, that's also possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've toyed with that. After getting my type, I was like, am I an EJ? No, I mean, it fits. Like they got me. Like I'm actually a little shocked that they got me as accurately as they did. Like the other funny one was the sleep last, because I remember, so I, like we do, like I was trying to type myself, and I remember like walking my husband through the system. And I was walking him through the animals, and I was like, I'm so introspective. There's no way that I'm sleep last. Like, I must have sleep savior. And he's like, no, whatever that sleep thing is, that's last for you.
How come? Why did he say that to you?
It's because I am like, go, 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 go. And so, like, between play and sleep, like, he could clearly say that I'm play above sleep. Like, I mean, I wake up and I'm just like going all day long for the tribe, for myself. Like, I definitely am play consume in that respect, Yeah.
So talk about your feminine FI then. I'm quite curious about that. So how does it manifest in you? I did notice that when I was looking at your Facebook, that your smile has like a little bit of awkwardness to it. So like, I'm not trying to be offensive or anything.
No, it's not. I'm not easily offended. I'm not easily offended.
Yeah. But like, exactly. So yeah, can you talk about your feminine FI then?
Yeah. Well, and also I think some of that is the NT nerd, like Lindsay in the group, who's an INTJ, she said NTs suck at peopling. And so like we've got this demon SF, and in my case, I'm not visual at all. Like my modality is definitely kinesthetic audio. So like, yeah, like any visual things, I'm always like, is this what my favor's supposed to do? Like
I see. I get what you're saying now.
Yeah, like I just don't even. I don't know what's popular. Like, oh, I'm a nerd. Like I don't know.
Is this what a song looks like?
Yeah, is this what you humans do? I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so my feminine FI is interesting because like technically, and Dave says this in the class. Like the grant stack is real, so like technically it's still kind of my second function, even though I skip it. So I always felt like I am pretty well aware of my FI. Like I'm pretty well aware of like what I like, what I value, and that kind of thing. I think the feminine aspect of it is that like the tribe or external things can really affect my mood like hugely. Like I can just get slammed because of like some little thing or some idea. A lot of times for me, I think possibly fueled by any, I'll like make up something. Like I'll have some narrative that I've like made up in my head, and I'll just be devastated by it. It's like, oh damn. But it's just my feminine FI. Like I've learned it just kind of gets knocked down and then it'll come back up. Like I'll be okay. I relate to a lot of what Shannon talks about. And so another thing that I've noticed that like, if you watch Dave and Shannon, like Shannon just laughs easily and she's easily, that he can just get her giggling. Like I'm the same way. Like you say something, I'm just gonna start laughing. Like I'm very easy with that. Yeah.
Easily amused, kind of.
Easily amused. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I joke with my husband, like, cause he'll say he's really good at like, just like you see Dave do on the YouTube channels, like of getting Shannon to laugh. Like he knows like just that right button to do it. And it's not that hard because we have feminine FI, like it's not that hard, but he'll do it. And I call it like tripping over a joke. Cause I'll just be busting out laughing, like totally unexpected. Yeah.
Oh, what's that sound?
That's not me.
Oh.
That's what we need is two observers to say like, what's that sound?
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna pause this for 1 second. Okay.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I had a little SI tidal wave. My girlfriend was calling me because I think she wants to talk to me. She's in Vegas right now.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't realize she was going to call right now, of all times, in the middle of the interview.
In the middle of the thing.
So
yeah.
So you were saying?
Well, honestly, I don't even remember, but I can relate to that kind of situation. Like, and I think since getting my type, that has been something I've really, really noticed, that the demon sensory of just like losing track of the sensory, like not paying attention to the actual sensory of things, like the actual facts of the matter. Versavi and I were talking about this on the podcast, I think like well back ago, where we both have demon control of some kind. Like hers is NI, mine is SI. And for me, like the control aspects I kind of can live with, but the sensory is what I tend to forget and like don't notice. And that's what catches me is the sensory. Absolutely.
So the concept, you're kind of okay, you're good with it, but the actual sensory stuff is what trips you up.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Like this week has been like an SI week for me, like just because like I've been trying to like get a lot of things done that I've just pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. Like I had to go in and get a new passport, you know, and it's like classic SI situation of like, shit, I gotta fill out this form. Do I have all the right paperwork? Oh no, I don't have all the right paperwork. Like it's like the classic thing that you always hear about.
Yeah.
That like ENFPs have trouble with, or EPs, I guess, ENPs have trouble with, like, you know, the DMV and the passport office and
Yeah.
stuff. And like the lady took my application, but like I was missing like one of the documents. So like I don't even know. I might just get a call from the government of like, hey, you forgot your marriage, because I changed my name. You know, we were talking about Cash-Santos. And like I forgot my marriage certificate, and it's like, oh, I didn't realize. And then later on in the week, I had to get a new badge at work. So I'm at the badge office, and it's the same like draining, like, oh, I have to deal with this like sensory SI stuff that we ENPs just don't like.
Yeah, no, I get you 100%.
Yeah.
So I want to talk more about that, but I want to go back to FI real quick before we jump back to SI.
That's where we were. Yeah, that's where we were.
Yeah, you're definitely an ENFP because you're jumping.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you just proved it right there. But
exactly.
I noticed that a lot of individuals who are ENFP, or even in general, who has feminine FI, tend to be very sensitive. So do you think you're very sensitive?
I think the masculine TE savior kind of helps me with that. Like I think once you get to know me, like the people who really know me and kind of get in, they can see that I'm pretty sensitive, but I don't portray sensitivity to the world, because my masculine TE is just like a puncher of a function, you know? And I've always come off with a very strong personality. And actually this is something that like my husband has noticed about, like it took him a long time to like see that, oh, she comes off so confident, so strong, so this, but like inside is this like little vulnerable, that little feminine, vulnerable, sensitive thing, you know, in there.
Do you have any examples of that? Like, do you get moved easily by movies? Like if it's like a really sad movie? Like
sometimes, yes. I mean, not as much as some people, but like I feel, that's a good question. Cause like I feel movies and music like really deeply. Now I'm having, hold on. What having a sensory breakdown. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna. What happened?
It's like, let's put 2 ENFPs in a room and like see how long. Okay. Now that one, those headphones, I was like, they're gonna die eventually. I was like, I'm gonna try it. Yeah. So I had these on standby.
Oh, good. You had the backup one.
I had the backups. Yeah. But I am like deeply moved by music and movies. And sometimes I feel like people don't get it. Like the movie Into the Spider-Verse just recently, I saw it and like, I like loved that movie, like on a deep personal level. And everybody else is like, oh, it's a cartoon. Like, I don't get it. And I'm like, you don't even know. Like, so yes. I mean, long story short, yes.
Yeah, I've heard people raving about it. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, but, you gotta see it. It's a good ENFP movie too.
Because I saw the trailer and I thought the trailer was garbage, but then I heard good things about the movie. So
yeah, the trailer, I was like, this is interesting. I was like intrigued by the trailer. I was intrigued, but it took me forever to see it. Like I just saw it like a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
But once I did, I'm like all in.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have to see it then.
Yeah, you should. Do yourself a favor. Yeah.
I noticed people with, ENFP. So I've interviewed another ENFP before who had masculine TE and feminine FI. And she kind of talks about using the masculine TE as like a shield to protect that feminine FI.
Absolutely.
Do you resonate with that?
Absolutely. I think that's true of masculine TE, feminine FI, no matter what your type is, right? Because even Shannon has talked about this too. Like, it's like that big monster that we put out in front of ourselves to deal with people, so that our vulnerable inside FI doesn't get hit, because our FI is so vulnerable. Like our FI can get wiped out or hurt like deeply. And so we put this masculine TE clause out there of like deal with this thing so you don't have to deal with like it deep inside, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I think as a double decider, I think it helps. Like, I'm not sure how the other ENFP, because I haven't watched all. You have a lot of interviews, so I haven't kept up with all of yours.
That's fine.
But I would guess that it's not as bad for us as it would be for like an EJ of some kind, like ENTJ or ESTJ. They probably have a harder, because they're on the poles, it's probably tougher for them. But for us, it's like, yes, I do that, but yeah,
they're not as comfortable too, I think, because like if let's say they have feminine FI and it gets really hit hard, like directly,
right,
and you're a double decider, right? So even though it's a demon, and even though it's feminine, it's your second function, right? So you gotten a chance to practice it during your whole life, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, in my case, it's the activated demon also, because I have play consume.
Yeah.
So like I pull on my FI all the time, pretty much. Yeah. So it's really not that's why I was saying, like, I'm not that easily offended. Like it's definitely feminine. It's definitely movable, but because it's kind of balanced, it's manageable, if you will. It's like not that bad of a demon, if you will. I don't know.
So do you like really hard rap music, like really like hardcore, like
I like all music, man.
Like Dr. Dre or something?
I do it all. I like all music. Yeah, it depends on the mood. It depends on the mood. I mean, I'm double masculine. So, I mean, I like music. So, double masculine gets you kinesthetic audio. And so, like we feel the music. Like I love all types of music, and I have a variety of playlists and things that I will draw on depending on my mood or what I'm looking for. So, I mean, sure. Yes, I'll listen to some hardcore stuff too.
So it's a mix. You have classical music there. You got some rock music. You got hip hop. You got some R&B. You got
Yes, absolutely.
Pop.
Yeah.
I see. So
yeah.
you're not like just in one genre. It's like they're all good. You enjoy all of them.
Yeah, I'm an EP. It's all good.
True. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Let's talk about being tribe above self. So how does that manifest in your day-to-day life usually?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think the way it manifests in my day-to-day is number one, I definitely do tend to like ping the tribe at times that like maybe I didn't need to. Like I'll be thinking of something. I'm trying to think of a good example of this. Like, okay, now this is a stupid one, but this is the kind of thing that happens is like, I was thinking about getting a new case for my phone, right?
Yeah.
I'll like ping my husband about this. Like, I'm thinking about getting a case for my phone. Look at this one. Like, why? Like, he doesn't care. Like, this doesn't affect him.
What's your husband? What do you think your husband is?
I think he's an IP. It's been actually, it's interesting you asked that, because like the last couple of weeks have been like me intensively like trying to type him.
Is he double feminine IP then?
Yes, a double feminine, and I think he leads with masculine FI though.
Oh, nice.
So like I think he would be double feminine because his extroverted decider is feminine, but his top function is masculine. That's the interesting thing.
So he's an INFP then?
I think he's a jumper too.
Oh.
I actually think he's FI and I right now. So
okay, interesting. So
ISFP.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, but don't hold me to this.
Nah, I won't.
I've gone back and forth on that, but yeah, right now that's where we're at with him. And so like, he knows what he likes immediately. Like, I'm pretty sure he leads with that, like lead sleep. He's definitely lead sleep because he's very much in touch with his FI. Whereas like with me, because I'm tribe above self and I'm play first, I'm lead play. So I'm kind of like, what's the external world doing? What am I doing? What's the external world doing? I'm pinging off the external world, even in cases where I don't need to, it doesn't make sense.
Do you find that you forget about yourself sometimes?
I don't, as bad as like, I think some EJs do. Like, Monica, who's in the groups and stuff, like she and I have talked because she's TENE and I'm NETE. So we're pretty close. And it feels like as an EJ, she has forgotten herself or like not known what her passion is. And then all of a sudden she wakes up one day and is like, oh my God, I'm in a job I hate. That kind of thing doesn't happen to me that often. I generally am doing what I want to do. Yeah.
So Dave and Shandy in their class, they had like a picture of a double masculine and they had like 3 levels of it.
I know. Yeah, I remember that. Anita made that actually.
Did you make that one?
No, Anita, Ashlyn.
Do you think you're like the big double M then?
I think I'm in the middle. I think for a female, I probably am the big double M, for a woman.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not, one of the things that like Dave talks about with double masculines or masculine sensory in general is like, they want to get in and say like, hey, and like wrestle with you and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not as much, I'm not that touchy feely into people. Like, I don't want to put my space in your space. So that's where I was like, not sure if I was that big double. Cause in that picture, like that one is like, rawr, like trying to like tackle you. Like, I think I'm more in the middle where it's like, I want to tackle you, but I mean, if you tackle me, we're fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough.
You come at me, bro. I'll bring it. Yeah. Yeah. I did martial arts for years. So like, I very much get that though. Like, I get the need to like wrestle and fight and stuff. Yeah.
So let's talk about you being a double decider. So David Shan said that double deciders have problems with fear. Do you resonate with that statement?
Yeah, fear, anxiety. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, no, I think I probably do, because I think that having, even though my blast is activated, I think that having demon blast means that like I'm slow to get started, and a lot of times I'm slow to get started because I'm kind of afraid of something not working out or not being ready. Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if it's fear. I often kind of think that I'm like, one of the things about ENFPs and EPs that sometimes doesn't resonate with me personally is I feel like I'm very risk averse. Like, I don't like to take a whole lot of unfounded chances. Like, it really scares me. So like, when you talk about fear, like the idea of like losing my job or like changing my job just because I don't like it or something, I would just like never do. Like, it just, and I can, as I'm talking to you, I feel fear in me to even think about the idea of, well, I'm just going to quit my job at Boeing and go become a painter because I love that. Like, I'm like, oh no.
You work at the Boeing factory in?
I don't work in the factory. I work in the offices.
Oh, nice.
I'm an engineer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a degree in aerospace engineering. So I started in aerodynamics for many years, and then when I transitioned into management, I work more in like FAA regulatory space. Yeah.
That sounds a very SI kind of.
Super SI.
Yeah. How's your career in the aerospace industry? Do you think it's resonating with you as an ENFP or not so much?
So I think it resonates with me as an NT. So this is where actually when I was an engineer, like doing straight engineering, like right now I'm an engineering manager, so I don't do as much technical work. But one of the struggles I had was with the SI work. And that was part of the reason why I was like, I really need to make the transition into management or leadership, because this, like doing the SI, I didn't have a language for it at the time because I wasn't studying this stuff.
Yeah.
But like doing that detailed technical work just wasn't feeding me. Like, I didn't love that. And like you were asking about my FI, like I was aware of that. Like, I knew that this was not for me. So I knew I had to make that transition. So I got a lead position first, and then I got a management position. And I do feel like in management, they do reward my NT problem solving skills. And I think being NETE especially is really, really helpful at the first line management role. Because I'm able to like think of connections across a board, and then my TE kicks in and I'm able to like make things effective. Right. I think where I struggle is I don't have the NI that a lot of people want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think that NE is still bringing something to the table, or do you think?
I do. Yeah. I think NETE is really well suited for like tactical, just like you can, and that's the thing is like, this happens to me. This just happened to me this week. I will get a phone call from like some of the highest levels of leadership in the engineering chain, and they'll say, we need something in 2 hours, get her done. And I can do that because my NE immediately is like, pulling together things, and then the TE is getting linked up. And so I'm really good at like tactical, just getting stuff done quickly and figuring out problems very quickly. Where I struggle is because we don't have an eye. I don't have that like singular vision strategy thinking. And that's the feedback I've gotten from my senior leaders is like, you need to develop your strategic thinking. And I struggle there. Yeah.
Just got thrown off a little bit by what you said, but because I noticed that NE in general is very good at putting out fires because you can see it coming right from all directions.
Absolutely. Right.
So TE to kind of put it out ASAP. So
yeah.
So that's working out.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, is we are good at putting out fires, and we're good at like thinking of all the different ways that this fire can be put out. It's like something happens and we're like, well, this tool didn't work. Okay, I can think of this one, and this one I can bring in that guy. I think you're right. That's what we're good at. But you don't want to be in firefighting mode all the time. So that's the downside. Yeah.
Well, you don't, but you're good at it. So that's kind of like a skill that you have, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like for me, that's been the thing that like I've been always struggling with. And I think this is part of the EP like struggle of, routines and like doing a thing for a long, long time comes from the fact that we're so good at sort of the near term, and we know what we can do near term, but like, 5, 10, however many years down the road, we have a hard time like sort of sticking with a thing. Yeah. Cause we want to gather and deal with what we've got right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I want to talk about tidal waves and whatnot. So
That's my favorite topic.
Yeah. Have you ever had an identity crisis as a result of having demon FI? That's kind of
an identity crisis.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've had an identity crisis. I think what I have had is like, I think my like last animal sleep, they used to say missing sleep, and I always hate that. And like, I'm always the first one in the group to be like, you're not missing sleep. Your sleep last.
Yeah,
I think,
I agree with that.
Yeah. I think having sleep last, which is sort of an identity crisis, right? Because my sleep is SI-FI sleep. I have had tidal waves related to that, where like I might be doing a thing and I don't know what I value. So like the SI-FI of like, what do I value? Like, what matters to me? I'm out here doing stuff for the tribe, putting out fires, getting stuff done. But then sometimes I do feel this weird, like, well, but what do I really want to do? Like, what's really important to me? You know? So I think in that respect, you could call that kind of an identity crisis. Yeah.
So I don't think it's an identity crisis from what you're describing. It sounds like it's more like you have trouble pinpointing the direction where your life should be going.
There you go.
Because you maybe are not in touch with your feelings or your passions and
absolutely
whatnot. So
or because I have feminine FI, they change too. True. And I think like, at least, and I don't have a ton of experience with masculine FI, but like from my perspective, a lot of times like I get into something and I'm like, I love this thing. Like, this is the thing I want to do. But then you wait like 3-6 months down the line and all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm quitting. Like that definitely is like a recurring pattern in my life of like joining a club, loving it, usually probably because of TE, ending up in a leadership position in it, and then being like, I don't want to do this. I'm leaving. Bye, guys. And then just leaving. Like that's that EP-ness. Yeah. Oh, shoot. I said it. There it is.
Lack of commitment.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. You said that, you'll change your mind 6 months down the road because of that feminine FI, because my girlfriend is also an ENFP like me, and she has a feminine FI, and I noticed that she'll get bored of things so quickly, and she'll switch like 1 minute she wants to be a teacher, the next minute she wants to be a career counselor, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why don't you like pick something that you like? Because like she's like, I like a lot of things, but then I get bored easily too, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think that's like, because she's an ENFP and we're double deciding there, I think we're much more quick to change gears than like an EJ. EJs, they're going to be killing themselves for the tribe. They don't even realize it. And then it's like this huge tidal wave. Whereas like for your girlfriend and I, it's like, oh, I was really into this now I'm not. And the next thing, it's because we're not totally disconnected from our FI. It's still there. It's still close. Yeah. I think for me, it probably lasts longer. And usually what happens is I do get to the point where I know my FI is not on board, but I'm doing it for the tribe. And I'm like, I don't want to leave because the tribe's depending on me. And I'll stick around in a thing that I don't like for probably, sometimes my husband will tell you too long. That's what he would say. He would say, you should have quit that thing 3 months ago when you said you hated it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, but the tribe. So I'll stick around probably longer than your wife. If she's a straight ENFP, she'll probably just go.
They need you. So
yeah, they need me. Yeah.
Well, I have masculine FI, so it's I don't resonate with that kind of mentality. It kind of like, in a way for me, I'm like, oh my God. But like, I get it because I've seen it a lot. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what about SI tidal waves? Have you had any major, don't control me kind of tidal waves, like where
I'm
you
trying to think.
or,
Yeah.
or something bad happened to you as a result of not committing long enough to one field, or lacking discipline, perhaps? I mean,
I
you're
think,
masculine SI, so
yeah, I think for me, a lot of times I don't know that I've had like a major one. I think maybe I've been fortunate in that. And I think having the masculine SI probably helps. But what does happen to me is like these little tidal waves of like, I didn't check the sensory on a thing, and it'll catch me, and it'll require me to maybe redo a thing or fix something because I didn't notice the sensory, because I didn't notice this, like, it's usually like regulations and stuff. Like, well, back to, when I was talking about when I was an engineer, I've been in the so that's certification, airplane certification area role generally for a long time. And when I was in aerodynamics, I would be a cert plan owner. And like part of that is there's very specific things you have to do. And I would like miss things because I'm probably demon sensory. Now I know, but I miss things, and I would like send it in, and it would come back to me like, nope, you missed step 44B sub paragraph 62266.4. I'm like, oh man, how did I miss that one? So then I'll like fix it. And then I would like send it again. It'd be like, oh, this time you missed paragraph 43.DD 64. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I used to joke that I learned how to do it by hitting the stops, because that's what I would do, is I would try it and that didn't work. That didn't work. Instead of actually paying attention to the sensory of like, how do you do this? Yeah.
Do you find that because you work in a job that's so SI dominant that your SI has improved a lot compared to a lot of ENFPs?
Probably. Yeah. From talking to other EPs in general, I mostly talk to ESFPs. I don't know why. That's just the group that I've like somehow found myself in. But it sounds like from talking to them that, yeah, I probably have better SI than I ought to. I have better OI, if you will, introverted observer. So like my routine is very regular in everything. Like I wake up at the same time, I do the same routine. I'm very regular in that respect. And it could be from the SI. Yeah.
What about your masculine TE? Do you have a tendency to look at a tribe spectrum and see where you kind of fit in? Like, kind of like status maybe? Are you, like, I don't know if you're interested in status or...
I'm not. I hate status. I hate status as much as anybody else. I mean,
love it, so
yeah, well, people want it, Yeah, I think I've been really noodling on this lately. Like as I was trying to sort of type my husband and try to figure out his type, is I feel like what TE does is it looks at like the spectrum of reasons and like the objective effectiveness of things, and then where we filter is like on what matters to us, like with our FI. But we can see a whole variety of reasons and like I think it's Personality Hacker calls TE effectiveness. And I think that's where our TE comes in, is we're looking at all the options and like, what's the most effective? Like what is going to work the best? So, I mean, I do that. I don't know that I would call it status, but like I'm oftentimes banging the blocks together for sure. Like I personally, I mean, I know I'm technically an ENFP, but I think of myself as an NT-EP because I really resonate with like the NT puzzle solving, trying to figure stuff out. And that TE is a big part of that. Like what will work? What can I get to work? Yeah. That's how my TE mostly shows up. It's a lot of puzzle. Like everything is a puzzle that I'm solving, like constantly puzzle solving.
And you enjoy doing that?
Well, I do it automatically. So, I mean, I enjoy it, but it's almost like, this is where they talk about the saviors being like an addiction almost. Cause it's it's just like, I just do it. And so like, if anything, sometimes I'm like, I need to like turn this down. Like I need to like stop trying to puzzle solve everything. And this is where like, sometimes I guess my demon self can come into play, because I'll have like no problem in front of me to solve. So I'll just make up a problem. And so, oh, well, I suck. And so then it's like, okay, well, let's figure out all the ways that you suck. Like, it's like, what?
That's funny.
Why? Why did I do that? But there was nothing else to puzzle. There was nothing else. And my brain would just go to solving that. So, I mean, it's just like what they say, like if you don't kind of hate your type, it's probably not your type. Like that's like an aspect of myself that I wish I could turn down a bit. Yeah.
Well, because I interviewed Alan, the
Oh
ENTJ
yeah.
in our group, and kind of refers to himself as a troubleshooter, right? Like,
Yeah.
he's always solving some kind of problem. And
Yeah.
if there's a problem, then he's there ready to solve, right? So I think that's kind of like you. Like you said, you don't even think about it. It's just like you just do it, right?
I'm just doing it. Yeah. I'm automatically doing it, finding new problems. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious about your masculine TE though, because I have feminine TE, right? So I'm pretty flexible with the tribe, and you know, even pretty submissive with the tribe to an extent. Unless you piss me off, then my masculine FI will punch you out of nowhere.
Masculine FI is no joke. Yeah. I believe it.
But it comes out of nowhere. Like you have to pass through a certain threshold before it comes out.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But like I noticed that one thing that I was doing kind of like with the feminine TE is that, like, you know, I have this YouTube channel, right? And I have a travel blog that I run. But usually when it comes to executing kind of like my plans, I need to almost have reassurance first from an INTJ. So I would go to all of them and like kind of present them my plan and my plan of action as well. And then, you know, I would wait for them to give me feedback first before I would execute on it, because it's feminine, right? So do you do that? Or for you, it's like, I'm super confident I'm just going to do this. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks, you know?
Yeah, the latter. Absolutely. Like that is, and part of that might be lead play too, because, well, I guess it's the same, right? I mean, lead play, TE, it's to exactly that. Like and this is what at my job, they've like learned, like, oh, if I call Evelyn, she is going to do something about this quickly.
Yeah.
Like I don't waste time. I'm not checking anybody. It's like, we're going to do this plan and I just came up with it right now, but let's go do it. And like, it didn't work. That's okay. Making another one. Here we go. So I am very, very quick to just throw stuff against the wall. Where I'm slow is like the blast. So my TE gets pulled for my blast too. And it's when I have to do a longer term project or a thing like that, that's where I get into more of, and it's because I'm taking all the time to like organize the sensory, like it's trying to get it down to that SI exactitude. That's usually where I slow down if I have a thing like that. But if it's anything that I can just quickly execute on, I will quickly execute on it. I will quickly jump on something. Yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think if there's any good examples of that lately. Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm thinking of like our podcast, you know, we will very quickly plan a thing and say like, we're just going to go do it. Like that masculine TE roundtable that we did not too long ago. I had the idea and then like 24 hours later we had it booked and we were going to do it. Like it was very fast. Like, and that's typical of me. I'll just go. Yeah.
I have a two-part question for you then, based on what you just said. So first of all, is your FI then the opposite of your TE in the sense that you need permission from other people to kind of pursue your passion, your dreams?
Yes. That's good. That's very insightful. Yeah, I think it is. Just like you were saying with your feminine TE, I think my feminine FI is like that. Yeah, where like I'm asking, like I gave you that, you know, stupid phone example of like, I like this. Is it okay that I like this, tribe? Like, can you just give me permission to like the thing I already like? Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's spot on. Yep.
And then my next observation that I made was that you were saying that you have trouble with long-term planning, and you know, you wish you had a little bit more NI almost, just because so you can kind of like do well with blasting long-term wise.
Yeah.
I was just talking to an ENFP that had masculine NE, which I found very fascinating, because I think this is one of those things that no one can seem to figure out what masculine NE is, right? But we found one very good clue, and that's what the one thing that we noticed was that people with masculine NE, when you make a plan, it's hard to switch plans. Like they get really upset. Like they almost picture themselves already in that world. Like, you know, because it's very visual, right? They picture themselves kind of experiencing that future already. And if you take that away from them, they freak out, right? Like, so we both have feminine NE. So maybe that's why long-term planning can be a little bit more difficult.
It's murkier for us, I think. Yeah, like sometimes I've kind of joked that masculine NE is like a dog that runs after a squirrel, and like so that's all in on that squirrel, and it's gone, right? And they'll just go, and like you said, like they're imagining the future, or they're like, yeah, mentally they follow that squirrel, and then they look up and they're lost their house, like they don't know where they are because it's so committed. Whereas I think with feminine NE, we see all the squirrels and we don't necessarily run after one of them, but maybe we should. Like maybe one of those is actually a good squirrel that we should probably catch and eat. I don't know. This analogy is breaking down, but you know what I mean? I think, yeah, it's murkier for us. So we're not as willing to like go all in and commit to the thing because our SI is kind of holding us, like the reality is sort of like grounding us of like, well, I need to deal with this reality right here. Like I need to organize this sensory and get a hold on that before I can go.
Well, yeah. the exact wording that I've gotten from people with masculine NE was that there's almost like an emotional commitment to that future already, you know?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Emotional. Like, that's interesting. Yeah.
Just like I feel like as an NE with feminine NE, like it's movable, right? Like if the plans change, that's fine. I can come up with another plan for the next thing. But for them, there's no way. They need to kind of figure out how they can make that work, that future work.
Yeah. Give me 1 second. I don't know if you're picking this up on your end, but I can hear something over here.
Sure. Yeah.
I am such an audio. Like I hear things.
I'm the same as you. I'm also audio.
Yeah.
But
so we were both like, "What's that sound?" Yeah.
Yeah, I'm masculine and feminine, so not quite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let
me know. Let me know once you get that fixed.
I got it. I think it was the old headphones were like beeping, so hopefully it wasn't coming through because I'll hear it.
So, as an EP in general, do you have problems with people trying to control you? And is that something that, you know, like if someone were trying to tell you what to do or trying to restrict you, is that something you would freak out over?
I think this is where I think that Save Your Tribe also can come in a little bit, because I probably don't freak out about it as much as other ENFPs seem to, because I am obligated to the tribe. And so I am kind of like, okay, I will do what the tribe wants. I think it depends a lot about like if I have signed myself up for that. Also, like I said, I did martial arts for a long time. And like one of the things I loved about it was you had to go there and you were told what to do. And like, I actually like that. And I kind of like the idea of the military for that same reason. Like I never got into the service, but like I could see there's a possibility that I would have done that, you know, if things had just done a little different. I could totally be in the military and I would be fine with that. Where I've noticed I get kind of punchy with authority or people trying to control me is a lot of times like if I don't feel like they deserve that, or they're trying to say something to me that's like not founded, or they're just trying to control me for the sake of controlling me and not with any sort of authority behind it, I get punchy then I get defensive. I'm like, well, you're wrong. And, you know, and things like that. Yeah.
Well, my first comment is I don't think anyone is going to mess with you because I think you're the one controlling other people as a result of that feminine,
masculinity, boy.
Yeah. But the second thing though is, what about individuals that will try to tell you what to do, but they can't provide a reason why? Because but they have a higher status than you, you know, in the hierarchy of your workplace, let's say. How would you kind of deal with that? Because that's kind of tough, right?
Yeah, that one is tough. I think a lot of times, wow, that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. I think it really depends on the context and like what's going on, because sometimes I will go with it. Sometimes I will go with it because maybe I'm able to figure out the reasoning behind it. Like maybe they're not telling me the reason, but I can figure out the reason, you know?
But what if the execution of that thing that they're ordering you to do makes absolutely no sense? It's very inefficient. It's not going to be as effective. And they want you to do it just because they're the boss. They're higher up than you.
Yeah. I think you got me. Yeah, no, I don't think I'd like that. I don't think I would like that.
But then,
I mean, I have done
a situation like that before?
I have done that kind of thing before, but in my mind, I was like building up a social cash that then I could use later, you know, where it's like, okay, I'm doing this favor for you. on the hopes that you'll remember me when it comes
Yeah.
time to a promotion or, you know, whatever. So I have been known to do that, but I'll tell you, man, so my mom passed away like 3 years ago. But growing up, that was our constant source of frustration. Is she would tell me like, go clean your room, or, you know, whatever you tell kids to do. And it was like, I would always be fighting against like just her control. Cause in her mind, it was like, I'm older than you. That's all the reason I need. I don't need any more reason than that.
Yes.
And I hated that and fought with her all the time. Like, this was a constant battle for me until I got to be an adult and I got a little bit more chill. The little kid Evelyn, all the time would fight about that. Yeah. I would go to bat like all the time. Yeah.
So let's talk about that then. What was little kid Evelyn like compared to like adult Evelyn? Like,
I'm more chill now, I think. I was much more punchy. So like, I mean, I'm pretty punchy now, but I was much more willing to fight you on stuff, especially like principles and stuff like that. Like I still catch myself doing it. This masculine demon SI tendency to correct people's grammar and stuff.
okay.
You know, they joked about it, I think, in the Weird Al class, like with the word crimes. It's like, I do that to like, when I was a kid, I would constantly be correcting people, constantly. And I finally have learned that like, the tribe doesn't want you to do that. Like, you need to stop. So I think I'm more chill. I used to be much more like, I would poke people. And a lot of times I think it was that like NT nerdy, just like on the principle of the thing. Like, there was no reason really. Like, it didn't matter in the long run, but it's like, it's wrong. I have to point out that it's wrong.
Does it bother you when people were saying it incorrectly?
It bothered me in the way that like a mosquito bite bothers you, you know. It was just like, it's irritating. Like, it was just like an irritant. And so I'd go like, that's wrong. Like my favorite one, my dad still does this. My dad's like 70 some. He'll call Pike Place Market Pike's Place. A lot of people make that mistake because there's Pike's Peak.
Yeah.
Pike Place is Pike Place. And you can see him getting punchy because like, I'm like, it's Pike Place. Like, that's the feeling. Yeah. It's this weird irritation, which is like, it doesn't matter. No, but I do it. It's ridiculous. Or I used to do it. Little kid Evelyn did.
Because people used to correct me all the time. Like, I used to say, you know, like all you can eat buffet.
Yeah.
I used to say, eat all you can buffet, right? Oh. And people get so pissed at me, you know, like.
That's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's wrong.
You can't have jelly and peanut butter sandwiches.
Yeah. You know, like, based on our conversation today, it sounds to me your biggest problem is actually not SI. It sounds like it's more like FI. Like,
yeah.
A feminine FI. Like not knowing what your long-term, you know, goal is that makes you happy. You know,
that's correct.
The biggest. Have you had any inclination or like idea of what you want to pursue that maybe you're not sure that you should pursue it? Like, what have you given this some thought?
Oh, absolutely. So it's a couple things. Number one, you're spot on. And so like, even when Dave and Shannon typed me, they were like, we're not even going to give you the EP advice. We're going to give you the EJ advice. Yes. So part of the reason my type is what it is because I am a double decider, and they could see that. And so that's why they didn't type me TENE.
Yeah.
I am NET. So it is true. And in terms of like what I want, I think part of it is like, I think I was driven by the tribe. It's a long story. So like when I was a little kid, like I have a 5-year-old right now. So when I was like her age, I wanted to be an astronaut, and I, no kidding, wanted to be an astronaut. And I knew that's what I wanted to be from that age. Got a degree in aerospace engineering, worked at Boeing. I did flight testing. And so like, even though I have not like been to space, I have done it.
Yeah.
And I think like having done that, I'm now on the other side. And plus I've experienced a lot of life, and like a lot of things have come into my life that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah.
And I think that's why like right now happens to be a period in my life where I am in that sort of like, now what stage? Like I'm 35 years old. So like I'm at that middle age stage where it's like, now what is my legacy? Like, what is my thing, you know? And I think that's why I spend a lot of time. I do. So now that and having my type is helpful because it's like, okay, they've told me that I'm sleep last. And so I do spend a lot of time just reflecting on like, what do I like? Like, how did this thing make me feel? Like, I do spend a lot of time doing that. And so like right now, I am really passionate about our YouTube channel and our podcast, Objectively Typed. And I want to see that be something. However, I have the SI reality, right? Of like, I have a good job where I'm at. You know, that job pays me very well. It pays me better than a podcaster would get, at least, you know, our podcast is very nichey. And so that's kind of my struggle right now, is like the practicality of life versus like my passion and what I would love to do. And then even at work, like I know that I would like to get myself into some other areas within the company. It's just not that easy sometimes to get there. So like I'm trying to like make network contacts and things like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're the same age, eh? We're both 35.
Oh, we are. There we go. 1983.
Yeah. Oh, so you're 36 this year then?
I'm 36 this year, yeah. You 84?
Yeah, it was my birthday 2 weeks ago, I think.
Oh, okay. So you just turned 35. Welcome to the 35 Club.
Yeah.
It's rough.
It is. I know.
Yeah.
So what about the whole, like, you know, you want to go to outer space thing? Is that still something you want to pursue? Like, have you read the books by Chris Hadfield or like any?
Oh, did he write The Martian? Was he the one that wrote The Martian? I don't think so.
He wrote a book. It's like a self-help book, but it's coming from an astronaut's perspective. Like,
I should check it out. Okay, I'll check it out.
Like, he's Canadian, and Canadians at the time did not have any opportunity to be an astronaut, but he still wanted to become one.
Yeah.
He managed to figure out how to achieve his dream of being an astronaut, which is exactly like yours, even though there were so many barriers to him being one. So I think that's something you should probably check out.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I definitely will. I think right now, I don't think my FI is into that anymore. I think doing the years and years of flight testing that I did kind of got the jollies out, because it was as close as you're going to get, like aside from going to NASA and doing that. Yeah. It was very, very close. Like I was on airplane doing on airplane testing. I did control room stuff. Like I got that experience of like taking data and doing it. And I think, you know, the Columbia disaster, which happened, I guess, probably if you know, I'm not sure when and if you went to university, but like I was in college at the time, and like seeing the Columbia breakup did kind of make me start to say, well, hold on. Like, I mean, I knew it was dangerous, but like, I don't know. Cause you know, Challenger, we were like babies. Like Columbia was like, oh, I'm a full grown adult in an aerospace engineering program. Like, I don't know. And then, you know, the shuttle program itself, you know, went away, and like, I think a lot of things changed. And so I'm not sure that's really it. I think where I am now is I really want to teach people and impact lives, because I've been through some really hard things. So my brother died and my mom died like within 18 months of each other. And so like having been through those things, now what I'm really passionate about is like, how can I empower people to go through struggle and come out the other side, you know, and things like that. Like I'm more passionate about that than getting off this rock. I want to help the people on the rock. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds horrible. I had my father pass away too, just several years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like you have sleep last, right? Like, so how did you process when that happened? Because that must have been really hard, even though, you know, it happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard for anybody, right? I mean, that's like, you know, that's painful. I think for me, the other aspect we haven't talked as much about is, so I came to OPS not really from a typology background. Like I really didn't know Myers-Briggs or anything. I came from a Buddhist background. So so like, man, when was it? I first learned to meditate. Yeah, I was like 18 years old. So like 2000 timeframe. And then in college, I meditated. And then when I got out of college, I joined a Zen group. And so I actually did a lot of like, I did Soto Zen meditation, and I did retreats, and I did a lot of that. And so when my brother, who was only 37, he had a stroke.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
so young. Holy crap.
I know, it was out of nowhere. I was 30 at the time. My daughter was like 6 months old. And I think like having that really strong grounding in meditation and mindfulness and being present, that's what got me through. Absolutely got me through that. And then it was crazy, because he passed in 2014. And then like my mom was with us in 2015. And actually she wanted to go to Hawaii. So we went to Hawaii for Christmas, and she came home and she had an acute aortic dissection, and she died just like that 18 months later. It was crazy. And so like the only way I was able to sit with that and get through that was that really strong meditation practice. Like I had a really strong practice, and I think that's what got me through that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what does the meditation feel like for you? Because, I don't really understand like I've tried it, but I just didn't feel anything different afterwards, So like,
Yeah.
how does it help you?
How does it feel, or is it, yeah.
Well, how does it feel like when you do it consistently, like for a long, time?
So, and I think this is why, like, I stuck with it, is because of the effects that it had. Like, I recognized that even when I was like 18 years old, I was like, oh, this is useful for me to do. And what it does for me is it really settles me down. And again, I keep coming back to lead play, which I didn't guess, but it's like obvious. Like I have like double activated play. So my energy level is usually like, whoa, like go, go, go. And so what meditation helps to do is like settle that down, calm yourself down.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to kind of deal with things with more mindfulness and more responsibility, as opposed to just reacting out of irritation or whatever, right? So like now I'm not correcting my dad when he says Pike's Place. I just let him say that, So meditation is really what chilled me out.
Yeah.
A lot. And so, yeah, I loved it. I did a retreat in Atlanta once where we actually meditated all night long. Like we sat outside in the winter. It was in December, in the cold all night long. And I like love that. Like, it's like, there's something about that just really challenging things like do that for me. Like I just like it. I don't know. I'm weird. I'm a glutton for pain, I guess.
Yeah, that's definitely another indicator that you're a double decider, because double observers try to avoid pain, right? So it's
it's true.
Yeah, so all the indicators right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
actually, like even talking to you, it's kind of funny because I feel so introverted, like talking.
I know, right? I know. Yeah,
I'm not introverted, but like talking to you, I'm so introverted. It's so
I know. Yeah, it's what Dave and Shannon talk about. It's really funny to see it like actually play out, because I'm in the same square. When they talk about this person's not Tony Robbins, like I'm in that square. I'm in that Gary V, Tony Robbins square on their board. I'm an NE, so I'm not quite as cranked up, but I'm a play consume. Like we're pretty cranked up. Yeah.
Yeah, because my youngest sister's an ENFP also, right? And she thinks she's double masculine. I'm like, after talking to you, I'm like, you don't know what double masculine is.
You don't even know.
Yeah. This is you're not double masculine.
Yeah. Well, the animals are huge. Sorry, too. Because they say, although I don't. I think we had one person in the group who was a play blast. He was a NETE play blast consume. That would be, theoretically, even higher energy than me, because my consume does kind of break up the blast. Yeah.
My sister has blast last. Like she can't get started to save her life.
Yeah.
She has trouble kind of like explaining things to people.
Yeah. I'm definitely hobby blast. Yeah. Hobby blast all day long. That's why the podcast is a good fit for Versavia and I, because we both have blast in that third position. Yes. So we're a good match, because neither one of us really outweighs the other. I do tend to be more extroverted than her. She's a mope.
Like you almost come across as a play blast, like for some reason, like
my blast is strong. The blast is strong with this
really
one.
Strong. Yeah. That's, I mean, if I didn't know it was double masculine, I would have probably accused you of being play blast, not like play consume blast.
Yeah, I think it is that double masculine blast. Yeah. I was curious about that too. And because I talked to, right after I got my type, I did a phone call with Shannon so I could ask her kind of some of these questions. Cause I was like, how the hell, I mean, now you're right. Talking to you, it's like, oh, of course this person's NE, like, duh. But like in my mind, like I didn't see it. I was like, how did you get NE? And can you explain the consume over blast? Cause I thought I was consume last. Like when I had typed myself consume last, not sleep last. I knew I was extroverted. So I knew I had two, extrovert animals in the top three. But I thought it was consume last. And the reason she said I was consume above blast is that like before I feel ready to blast, I do a lot of consume first. And you happen to be talking to me about a subject that I know a lot about and that I have already consumed a bunch. So I feel like I can blast. Whereas like if you had caught me cold, and I find this at work, like when they catch me cold of like something that I haven't thought about or I haven't consumed, I'm like, I just trip over myself. It's really weird. Suddenly I can't talk because I haven't consumed it.
Yeah. So you have kind of like all the information that you need already kind of ready and
preloaded
for you to blast.
Yeah.
And you don't have like I guess a know-it-all syndrome, right? Like consume last people tend to have like.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, that's what they say about consume last. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think what I was seeing was my demon sensory. And so like, I don't like to read. It's funny. I was about to say I don't like to read books. It's not that I don't like to read books. I don't like to like sit through the sensory of it. So I've really globbed onto audiobooks. Like audiobooks are like my favorite thing now. And so I'm constant, like these are on my head so much that like my husband, like, you got to take your headphones off because I'm always listening to a podcast or a book or something. So I am always taking in new information. I just don't like to sit down and actually go through the sensory of it anymore.
I think also because you have lead play, so you have so much energy. So for you to sit there and like read to a book, that's really painful, right?
It is. Yes, it is. I want to be washing the dishes while I'm reading a book. Maybe doing a third thing, who knows? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like the only time I can see you reading a book is like maybe after you do like Tough Mudder or something, or like Spartan Race.
That's what I did.
And then after you finish that, then you can go read a book.
Yeah, I did a Spartan. I did a Spartan last week. And it was apparently like the hardest Spartan in like Seattle history or something. Like everybody, like there were hundreds of cases of hypothermia. 2 of the people I raced with didn't finish. But I was like, nope, we're finishing this thing. But to your point, I got home, laid there and watched Aquaman. I was like, but I think even when I was watching Aquaman, I was like looking up something else. Like, I'm sure.
Yeah. So you still had some energy left after.
I know, right?
Jesus. Oh my God. Like,
8 miles.
I've been only typed unofficially by David Chan, kind of like just from doing phone consultation with Dave and meeting him in person when I went to Seattle.
Right.
So they accused me of being a NET, but then after talking to you, I'm like, no freaking way at all. not even close. Like I've been stubborn with being NEFI for so long because I do have masculine FI, right?
Yes.
But like talking to you right now, it reinforces that even more.
Yeah. That lead play is especially because mine's like that double activated play. So it's like, that's what should hit you in the face. Like the play should be the thing. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go wrap up the conversation pretty soon. I do have 2 last things to talk about before we wrap it up. So number 1, do you have any final message to any weird ENFPs like you out there?
The jumpers.
Who has feminine FI is their problem, not SI. Really SI.
Yeah, I think, so if the weird ones like me, whoever you are, and I would love to hear from you because I haven't met me, but I think it's like use your other functions to your advantage for your weak one, if you will. So I mean, you're right. So FI does tend to be like my problem, even though it's activated. But so I use my SI to help my FI, right? I made a routine that is a very deliberate sleep practice. And I use routines to kind of make sure. So like I have literally, like I could pull it. This is my peacocking part where I pull up my checklist and I'm like, oh yeah, I have a checklist on my thing. I have an app that like I made a checklist of my morning routine. And every morning, so like in SI clarity, it says like meditate, work out, do your morning reflections and stuff like that. So it like, I'm using my SI to spend time on the part that I won't naturally spend time on. That's kind of how I've hacked it. Like use your strengths to hack your weaknesses. I think that could work for anybody actually. But yeah, that's how I've been able to do it mostly. Yep.
Well, I don't think it will work for a lot of people just because you have good use of SI. Like I think other ENFPs will look at that, but like, I can't use FI and SI. Like how do I?
Yeah.
Like, it's a really good advice because you're scheduling in like sleep with meditation.
Yes. Well, actually, I do sleep as a separate thing. So I have the meditation, which is just it's almost like pure SE kind of thing. Like I just sit and I just watch my breathing, and that's kind of the calming the energy down thing, because I am so high energy. That's what that is. And then I actually have a separate step on my checklist called morning reflections, where I take time to do some sleep processing, to really go over like, okay, now how do I feel about this? Like, where's my FI at? And I actually also have a thing on my checklist that says open up to the world. So it's like, not until I have done all of these other things am I allowed to start texting people, talking to people. I have my phone like on lock. That's the other thing. So my phone has, and I think part of it is being NT, right? Is I've NT puzzled out stuff on my phone to like contain me. And so like my iPhone has a lockdown that happens at a certain time, and I can't open apps, or it gives me this big like lock screen that's like, do you want to open this? And I'm like, yes. Sometimes I still need to play. Like I can't stop it, but like I try to put up walls between me and my play energy to force me to do that internal work. Yeah.
That's so cool. Like I wish I had that ability. That's so cool. Yeah.
I think it's that puzzle solving, like always wanting to puzzle things out. So I've like figured out how to hack my phone to like not let me do stuff, because the phone ends up being the source of a lot of grief for me.
Well, it sounds like you solved the biggest problem that a lot of ENFPs have, or EPs in general, which is discipline, right? Like you have like a very disciplined routine. So that as a result, your biggest demon is actually your FI, which is, you're
not that bad.
Yeah. Not that bad. Yeah. So you're quite balanced for, and then I think like the masculine SI and the masculine T is super awesome. Like I've never heard like an ENFP blast so perfectly like you. Like it was so concise, like there was like such like good confidence in your blast. It's just nice to hear about it. Okay.
Oh, there was something, oh man, when you said that about the routine. Oh, the other thing, I would say one other thing. And I think this was on the Jessica McCabe How to ADHD channel also, is when building routines. Now I am going to go a little ESTJ on you. Sure, yeah. So when building routines, it is good to like, what I also do is I lower my bar down to like what I think I can actually handle. So like the current routine I just told you about, like that built up over time. Like it started with, wake up and meditate in the morning. Like that's it. Just do that, right? Like if you could just do that, that's good. And then because the thing about me, I need to be physical. I absolutely need exercise, or else I get depressed. Like I'm not a happy camper. So like exercise is almost like a free pass for me. Like the fact that it says exercise is my second thing, I really don't need it, but it like gives me that little sense of like, oh, I did it. It gives me the little reward cookie. And that's what you need to do, is like hack your brain to give you the reward cookies. Don't make this like god awful plans. Like I'm going to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to write 6 pages of my novel. I'm going to work out. Like don't do that. Just start with like, I'm going to wake up at a certain time. That's it. You did it. You get your cookie. I'm all about the cookies.
Do you work out from home, or do you go to the gym?
No, I work out here. I have a fitness center membership in my job. So like sometimes I'll go in there, but generally I work out down in this basement. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah. So what you can't see behind this, and the reason I bought this is because I have a heavy bag that's like right there.
Punching and stuff?
Yeah, it's one of those that looks like a man's torso.
Yeah.
So like before I got this, all these YouTube videos and stuff I was doing, you could like see this like guy behind me. It looked like sort of. It was like, this doesn't look good. I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean, no one's gonna pay attention to your conversation because they're gonna be looking at that weird thing in the background.
What is that? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's like a nice little elephant. So
yeah, you don't need to see. You don't need to see Bob.
All right. Before we wrap this up, do you have any final questions for me?
Man, I thought of some throughout this whole thing, but we've been like play energying, so I've like lost all of them. I am curious of like, what's your experience of masculine FI like? Like, how does that work? I can kind of see it like come out. Like you seem pretty clear on like what you want, but like, can you speak a little bit more about your masculine? Because I don't have that.
Sure. I'll explain it in two different ways. So number one, several weeks ago, there was a guy in a gym that I work at. So I work in the fitness industry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a fitness trainer. So I teach like spin, and I teach like senior fitness, and I do personal training. But I also overwatch the facility to make sure that like no one's stealing any equipment and stuff. I'm pretty bad at it, to be honest, because I'm bad at policing people.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like the worst job for an EP.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it is.
like,
Yeah, even I'm not great at that, by the way. Like, I'm a manager, but I'm like, how can I not tell these people what to do? Like, ideally, they should just do it themselves. Like, don't make me do it.
Yeah, be independent, right?
Yeah.
But like, so there was a guy who was doing something condescending to me. So from a distance, he was going like this to me, right? Which is like a very condescending kind of like hand gesture to do to someone, right?
Absolutely.
So at that moment, it was like a decision whether to do my job and appease the tribe and just take the hit, or protect my dignity, my sense of self. And at that point, this happened to me a long time ago, so I kind of had it ready loaded already.
Yeah.
Because like someone did it to me a long time ago and I didn't know how to react, and then I felt really offended by like that hand gesture. So this time when this happened again, I went up to the guy, and before he could say something, I think he was an ESTJ, by the way.
Oh yeah.
He said to me, I said to him, "Why are you doing this? This is condescending." Like in my head, I was thinking, you know what? They can fire me. I don't give a shit. Like I
see that.
They're not like. I'm not gonna let someone talk to me in this way.
Oh, okay.
So I said to him, I said, "Why are you doing this?" And he freaked out, right? Because like I think he was just trying to, like, I don't know. I think he's socially stupid. Like I don't think he understands that this is like a negative thing.
Do that, yeah.
And I realized that pretty quickly, because when he freaked out after I said that, right? He's like, I have nothing against your people. And I'm like, and I was thinking to myself, like, your people?
Yeah, that's what I just thought too. I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
And this is why I thought he was an EJ right away, because he's like, putting people in groups, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm Asian, right? So like, I kind of can't calm down afterwards. I'm like, okay, what's the problem? So he told me the problem, and I went to solve it. I'm pretty quick at problem solving also, right?
Yeah.
I come back to the gym, I see him like talking to another Asian guy and telling him, like, kind of like explaining to him he's not a bad person and he has nothing against like Asian people. And I'm like, that wasn't even a problem.
I think that, that's interesting. I think there's something there. Like Versavi and I just yesterday, I still have to post it. We were having a conversation about Demon NI. And it feels like Demon NI, like that big concept of like your race, or like, I'm African American. Like we don't really even, like we weren't thinking of that. Like that's not what this was about. This is about you and me, and not this big concept. And like it kind of felt like that. Like it was more just you were like it was almost like your little mini IP kind of thing, of like, don't tell me. You don't get to step on me,
Yeah. I'm not sure, but like for me, it just felt condescending, and I wanted to defend myself.
Right. But you didn't think of it, like you didn't attach it to this guy's doing this to me because I'm Asian or something.
No, I just thought this is a rude gesture, and you shouldn't do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, for him to bring the race thing, I was like, what the hell? Like, I was like kind of like face palming myself. I'm like, oh my god, some people are just they're so clueless. But anyways, yeah. But then like the other way that FI manifests is also like long-term goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have a clear vision in my head, like where I want to be 20 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, and they're pretty solid. Like I'm not gonna like how I get there is flexible, because my TE and my NE is flexible, right? Okay. But I'm set on achieving those things that I want to get, like those bucket lists or my life mission, essentially. Like I'm quite clear at like where I want to be. So
that's a really good, thank you. Because I was actually going to ask you about NI versus NE. And what it sounds like is if I had a nice, strong masculine FI, I would probably be able to have that longer term. Because I tend to attach NI with like that longer term visioning. But what you're saying is having a clear idea of like what you want. It's like having like a goalpost in the future. You're not sure how you're going to run across the field, but you know where the goalpost is, Yeah.
So maybe NI is more like how they're going to get there.
Yeah.
But FI is like, what is it?
Yes.
Like, so I know exactly what it is. Like I said, 20 years from now with clear, strong vividness. Like no one can move me on this. Like people can, like I deal with a lot of.
I need some of that.
Because like a lot of EJs talk to me, right? And then they're trying to get me to adhere, kind of like, like what's traditionally done by human beings, like as like a 9, like the typical lifestyle. And I said, I said, I'm like, that doesn't really, I don't really like that. Like, I see that and I'm like, no thanks, like.
Yeah. And you're real clear. You're like, nope. Yeah. See, with me, it's like, even if I don't like it, it's like, I don't want to commit and say I don't like it, because it's like, well, maybe I will. I don't know. I'll just do it. You know, like that's how it works for me. So that's okay, cool. I like that. So I need to harden up my FI.
Yeah, but the problem is like, so with you've stuck it out in a job that pays really well, right?
Yeah,
So,
it pays well.
so for me, like I've had many opportunities to kind of move up in my fitness career. Now, fitness is not my long-term FI. It's
Right.
it's my career for, like, I've been doing it for 6 years, and I'll probably do it for another 4 years maximum. But
Yeah.
afterwards, I kind of want to like drop it and just maybe I'll teach like spin or something, just because it's fun. But I like
Spin is great.
I
Yeah.
like the music aspect of it, right? But like, but in terms of like long-term plan wise, it's I just don't see it in the vision as like being my main career anymore. So, but like looking at your life, kind of like the way you describe your career, and using your SI, your TE, you're doing it for the tribe. You're also being very disciplined, and I feel like if I had more of that, as in my earlier years, I would definitely be further in my life, in my career, especially with money, which is like my biggest thing.
Yeah, money is such a pain. Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's really a good point. So that's helpful. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, it makes me think more about my husband. And I think, yeah, he he's always really clear on like what he wants, just what he wants. And like you said, though, he's not always clear how he'll get there. And a lot of times that's kind of been his downfall, if anything. But he clearly has that like lead sleep thing going on. So he's weird. Anyway.
Well,
yeah.
do you know Mike Chang, the six-pack shortcuts guy who used to spam YouTube all the time?
Oh no. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, like, there was a YouTuber. His name is Mike Chang. He was one of the early guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And his channel is called Six-Pack Shortcuts.
Six-pack shortcuts.
And
yeah.
he would absolutely like spam YouTube to the death. Like everyone, they hated it or loved him, right?
Yeah. And
he was very, I think he was very EJ, because he released an interview recently where he said he had everything at that point. Like he had money, he had, he was famous he was in the Ellen DeGenerate show.
Oh, okay.
He had girls, like he had like everything, like a person should want, right?
Right.
And then apparently he did like mushrooms or something, and then he learned that, like, he's like, oh my god, that thing that I thought was actually fun and happiness was not happiness. Because like it gave him a glimpse of what happiness really was.
Yeah.
He literally like sold his company and like went off grid to like go on a journey to find his FI, right?
Right. I mean, and I think sorry to any EJs watching, but I feel like that's like their struggle, is they need to take mushrooms to like figure out their FI, and then they go on a journey somewhere. Yeah. They have to like turn over everything just to find their FI underneath. Whereas I do feel like mine's not quite that far away. Like I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was describing how like he was very controlling. He lived in a box, which told me he was probably a T and I, ENTJ. Right. And then, like all of a sudden after the mushroom trip, he became an NF. Like he started talking about like, happiness and like law of attraction, all that stuff. And like what the hell like happened to him? And
he went full hippie. Yeah.
And he had like, before he had like a crew cut, and now he had like long hair, and like he really went all in on this, right? And but the biggest takeaway that I got from him was, you know what? You earned that time where you can find FI now, because you now have the money and the sense of security.
Yeah.
So you like from an EP watching that, like the biggest takeaway for me is like, I need to give up my freedom and my passion in the short term, build up like a nest egg first, and then go all out of my passion once I'm secure.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
So I don't know if that is something that you would resonate with, because it seems like your money-wise not the biggest problem for you.
Well,
FI is.
Yeah, well, I think I still absolutely do resonate with it, just because it's like I'm probably closer to that crossover point, right? Where it's like, okay, I have a pretty stable. I'm not quite where I'd want to be. Like, I want to move into a better house and stuff, like, because I got 2 kids and our house is still too small. But like, yeah, but you're right. And actually, I had a career counselor tell me that, because even early on in my career, I was like, I knew I didn't want to do like just straight engineering. But her thing was like, well, use the money that you're getting from this job and then go take a class or go learn this, or, use this as like a base from which you can like explore and find other things. And I did that for a while. Like I took psychology classes, and I, got into all the Buddhism stuff and the, like 50 different martial arts and all that stuff.
What about traveling? Have you thought of traveling?
Traveling with the 2 kids is now more of a pain than it was. Like before we had kids, yeah, we would travel, you know. We still try to take trips, you know, once a year, but it's just, I have a 5-year-old and a 18 months old. So it's like, oh God.
They're not gonna sit still in a meditation retreat in like India or something.
No, but like before we had kids, like we went to Japan, you know, we traveled all through Japan, and we would, the thing with my husband and I used to like to do is go on like road trips, but we would like fly to a place and then like get a car and then like drive around or whatever, you know. We like to do that. So I do miss that. So once they get older, we'll probably get back into that kind of
I want to ask you a race question. Like, are you Black? And like what kind of African background are you?
Oh man, oh God, I think I knew this. Shoot, because my dad totally got like ancestry.com. I think it's like Ghana. I want to say Ghana.
So you're West African then?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I am like straight up African American, like basic Black people. Like my people, I visited Cash Plantation in South Carolina when I was a kid. Like we went down there. So like, you know, my people have been slaves in this country.
From the South?
So like my dad's side came up from South Carolina. My mom's side came from like Alabama. So like we went to a family reunion down in Montgomery, Alabama once. And that's when I met like those people. And yeah, we're definitely like, we're not like the Barack Obama type of African American. We're like,
Barack Obama's like the white.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's white and African, whereas like I'm more like on the Michelle Obama side of things.
Yeah, because like if you watch UFC, I don't know if you know UFC, but like
not lately. I'm so out of things because of the kids.
Like John Jones is like the whitest like Black guy in the world.
Right. Yeah.
But like I was just curious because like what is your, because you said you're Ghana, right? But is both your parents from Ghana then, or is
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like we've been, God, we were slaves for so long. That I don't even know. Like I had to do ancestry.com to even find out. So
well, the only reason why I'm asking is like because I thought that would be a cool thing for you to do, to kind of like go back to like with those ancestral lands from your African.
Okay, it is, sorry, Ivory Coast, Ghana. Oh no, sorry, this is my daughter, because there's Iberian Peninsula, Spain. So it's definitely her results, not mine.
Oh, you're right, from Spanish.
Yep. But yeah.
So, Ivory Coast and Ghana. So those are the 2 places I think that maybe you should go to one day, you know, kind of like.
My mom always wanted to do that. We had a family friend that was able to do that, and it was really impactful. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All
right. So we'll wrap up today's interview. Thanks for doing this, Evelyn.
Yeah, it's fun. And I can hear the kids are back, so it's good timing.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, then, well, I'll say goodbye to everyone, and I'll stop the recording then.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.